Diamonds on my wrist when I step up on a diamond, 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 diamonds on my wrist when I step up on a.
Boom. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back live. Freight Coach Morning Show coming to you every single weekday from 8:30 a.m. Pacific to 9 a.m., 10:30 Central. Yeah, here we go. It is the 20th of April, which is everybody's second favorite day this month. And yeah, we have a couple of great topics to talk about here and kind of break down. But before we jump in, as always, got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. They are the prime sponsor of all of this stuff. They are big time supporters of me over here at the Freight Coach and what we're doing here at the Freight Coach Morning Show. You guys, their platform is what you need to check out right now. The asset reutilization is the wave of the future for freight and brokers alike. I mean, with the equipment cost being what it is right now and everything else, I mean, shippers need trailers, right? They need to drop trailer pool. They need all that fun stuff out there. So check them out at vhubapp.com. Their trailer report today, for example, they have some dry vans that are sitting out there in Glade Spring, Virginia, which is just outside of Kingsport, Tennessee, and Abingdon, Virginia, which I've, picked up some freight out there. What's up, Renee? What's Renee Johnson, Sheree Moore? What's going on out there? They got some trailers available right now. They got 3 trailers in they have 9 trailers total in Glade Spring. 3 of them are looking to go up to Delta, British Columbia, which is just outside of Vancouver. They have 3 looking to go to Rosser, Manitoba, which is just outside of Winnipeg. And then the remaining 3 are looking to head up to Edmonton, Alberta, and get that out there right now. Mark Groves, he's out there in the audience. What's going on, brother? Stephen Peterson, what's going on? And yeah, so again, check it out, you guys, vhubapp.com. Again, we need to get out there and put some of those one-way trailer positions out there. Asset reutilization is where it's at right now. And again, to set this up, for example, if you have some shippers in that area that can go into the Glen Springs, Virginia area, looking to head up into Canada, again, sell it to your carrier like this. They got that one-way run up there. Again, if you have some freight coming southbound, even better. But in my experience in moving cross-border freight, they can only do 1-in-1s anyways. So we can kind of set that up. And again, this is consistent, you guys. And again, look into it, vhubapp.com. Check it out. Let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Again, they can help out with some repositionings and some long-term trailer rentals as well that they have out there. So again, check them out. They're longtime supporters of the show. Let's get in some other shout outs that we have out there. Bojan, I hope I'm pronouncing your name. I'm sorry if that's wrong. What's going on here? We got Tyrone Short. What's up, brother? How's it going? Luis, good to see you back. Got a bunch of people jumping in here this morning. I love it. Hey, as always, this is day 8. Again, I'm going to bring this up every single day. This is day 8 that there's some truck parking issues out here in this industry right now. And collectively, as an industry, we need to do better to kind of help work through a lot of this stuff and continue to push this stuff out there. And then also, this is day 8 of there still being some facilities out there who refuse to let drivers utilize restrooms and everything else. So if you're a broker out there and there's a facility that you're aware of that doesn't allow this, again, we got to find some workarounds here, because not any one of us would sit somewhere for 6 or 7 hours and not even be able to use the restroom or anything like that. So again, if they don't have these facilities, though, I want you guys to ask about this. Is there a way that these drivers could drop their trailer there while it's getting offloaded so they can go down to the truck stop or wherever else to try and find a solution for this? Because again, I understand both sides of the fence. There's some facilities out there for whatever reason it is, but as brokers, as transportation professionals, let's ask some additional questions, see what alternatives there are for us to try and find some solutions here. Because again, I am not going to stop bringing any of that stuff up until there's some actual solutions that are put out there on place. I know that it's getting some attention on Capitol Hill. My friend Sheree Moore and I had a great conversation yesterday about a lot of this stuff. So yeah, look into that. We got 3 articles. So the way that this show gets broken down, you guys, we break down 3 industry-specific articles for the trucking and transportation industry, and I just share my perspective on it. Again, I'm all about helping the little guy, all right? The small carrier, the 97% of this industry that is small business on the trucking company side, as well as the overwhelming amount of small business that is out there. In my opinion, small business is the backbone of the U.S. economy. There are so many people out there trying to live their American dream, and that's what we're about. here at the Freight Coach Morning Shores. We want to keep people in business, and we want to keep people growing and keep them all profitable. Dave Abels, my man. Love that guy. If you guys aren't connected with Dave Abels, you guys need to reach out to him. He's a phenomenal resource. He's been in the industry forever. I don't want to put an age on him, but he's been in this industry for a little bit. Samantha Bass, what's going on? It's favorite time of the day. I love it. She's a ton of support. Samantha Bass shows me. I love it. She shares all my shit out there all the time. All right. So let's jump in to the first article that we're going to do today as soon as I can get my computer up and running. And this is coming to you from my friends over at the JOC. JOC.com is this one, and it is industrial demand gassing up for U.S. LTL market. So this is something I think to kind of where you're seeing a lot of Millie, what's going on? A lot of the stuff that you guys are seeing out there, again, like when we see the spot market start to drop, for example, I mean, I know that last year when a lot of stuff was going on, other things to take into consideration with a lot of this, in my opinion, is that some of these LTL shipments that would have been LTL, they shipped out on full truckload because they just needed to get it out there, again. So they're looking at, again, you got 3 LTL shipments that are out there that are kind of going into the same area, and they're consolidating and everything else. That kind of technically turns it into a full truckload, which is kind of technically on the spot market. So depending on how that data is put out there. So again, as rates started to level out and everything else, you're going to see a bigger push for LTL freight, in my opinion. Shout out to my friends over at Port TMS. You guys should check out what they have for a great LTL tool out there. Kyle Ingram, what's up, brother? Renee, we'll see about that. Benjamin Adams, what's going on? All right. So this article from my friends over at the JOC, industrial demand gassing up the U.S. LTL market. A marked increase in U.S. manufacturing activity in the first quarter indicates more freight will hit the highway this year than in 2021, countering fears of a sharp downturn in the overall demand for the U.S. trucking market. U.S. retail sales, the other primary driver of over-the-road freight volumes, may decline from last year's record-setting pace, but are likely to remain above pre-pandemic levels. As a whole, the U.S. Federal Reserve Index measuring total U.S. industrial production rose 0.9% in March from February and 5.5% year over year, which it's a pretty substantial bump, I'd say, overall. The index reading for February was up a revised 0.9% from January, following a 1% increase in January from December. So again, you're seeing that steady rise in freight. And again, there's like, when we're as segmented and fragmented of an industry that's out there, there's so many different modes that you can pull out there that comprises all of this data. So again, it's like you really need to start looking at it from a singular level as opposed to a market as a whole. Are there going to be markets that are affected by this? Yes, absolutely. My clients that I'm working with right now, there are specific freight markets that are going to drop. The spot market is going to bottom out. But again, got to create that market within inside of the market, you guys. And then here's a great piece. I mean, Jason Miller is a friend of mine. He's a supply chain professor of associate professor of logistics over at Michigan State. If you guys aren't connected with Jason, you need to connect with Jason Miller. That guy is phenomenal. He has a wealth of knowledge to share out there. His piece on this is there's a lot of demand backlog in manufacturing that's going to support manufacturing activity throughout the year. He's less concerned about freight volumes than he was prior to the Fed's release on industrial data production out there. Also, another strong indicator, XPO Logistics, they just purchased like 1 billion square feet of warehousing space, it looked like. Not that much. That was an over-exaggeration out there. But 51,500 foot industrial warehouse, 99 doors in Adelanto, California. That's another secret freight market for you guys to hit up. Adelanto, California has a bunch of shit. And yeah, it's just in the high desert region east of LA. Also in California currently, demand is on the rise for manufacturing and retail expansion in the high desert area. Mario Harik said he's the acting president of LTL and chief information officer over at XPO Logistics. They're making strategic investments to optimize their network for the long term. Manufacturing strength is boosting LTL demand, even as spot market truckload volumes and rates slip. Industrial freight historically represents the core of LTL shipments, although retail has made big inroads into the LTL as well. That's true for the trucking market overall, Jason Miller said. He points out that manufacturing accounts for the majority of truck tonnage, although the majority has been narrowing. Data from, and I'm going to save that part because I'm going to get into that in the next article out there. But again, there's a manufacturing uptick, which is good. I like to see that. Healthcare, technology, consumer services, and basic materials grew the fastest, followed by financials, industrials, and consumer goods productions. Supply chain disruptions continue to hamper production, according to our friends over at the JOC. Inventories are on the rise. Again, so how do you plan this out, though? Like, I think that a major focus, because again, we can throw all this data out there that we want right now, that fucking spot market's bottoming out, fucking contracted rates are up and all this, but what does that do? All right. Like, how does that help anybody besides raise a fucking level 12 alarm for anybody out there who's operating? Because we don't have the buying power. A lot of us don't have the buying power of a lot of the megas out there. And again, rightfully so. I'm not here to talk about the megas. It's how can we implement this into our day-to-day today is, again, we need to have a heavy emphasis on creating our own freight market right now, outside of the spot market and outside of the contracted freight market. It's hard. I'm not going to sit up here and say it's easy, but again, you need to start looking at it as singular focus, especially if you're trying to build up your book of business right now. Because like you guys, essentially the freight market you're operating in right now is the market. Like, this shit never goes away. So don't pay attention to the headlines as much as how can you take this information and implement it into your day-to-day operations. And that's what you need to focus in on, because again, somebody's going to be moving these truckloads. All right. Somebody's going to be moving this freight. Is it going to be you, or is it going to be your competition? So again, if you've been doing it a certain type of way and it's not working anymore, you have to adapt to that. The market is going to constantly fluctuate. That's out there. So again, by creating your own sub market, and that is trying to find that consistent freight, because again, a lot of this data is pulled from enterprise shippers. All right. The ones who are moving 50 to 5,000 shipments a day. There's a massive sector of this industry that does not have that kind of volume that's out there. So again, I don't know where people are pulling all of their data from on this, but I know that there is a massive amount of small to mid-sized shippers that are out there whose freight, they're looking for consistency. That never changes. All right. No matter what way the market shifts, carriers and customers need the exact same thing, and that is consistency. If we can provide consistent pricing within a couple of percentage points that go either way, you're going to find freight. You're going to make money on that freight because you're going to be able to develop a carrier base based off of that information as well. Reutilize the carriers that are in your network. Stop playing the spot market every single day. If you want consistently, stop posting your shit every single day and hope to find the cheapest truck. That's not going to work. That's not going to sustain. It's proven itself time and time again. I am a capitalist, all right? You guys, I love fucking making money just as much as the rest of you. But now you got to look at it. How do I make money for the next 12 months? All right, that's the way that you need to be focused in on. Remove the transactional mindset that's out there of won this load today, post it up for today, get lowest truck, and then worry about tomorrow. You can't do that. You got to move away from that. You got to navigate away from it. You got to play the long game right now more than ever. Sorry about that. That article was from my friends over at the JOC. It is called the LTL Trucking Logistics Industrial Demand Gassing Up the LTL Market. Again, check it out over there. I'm a subscriber to the JOC, so it's a ton of great resources over there. Second article comes from my friends over at Transport Topics, ttnews.com. Truck tonnage rises 3.8% in March. Kevin Coombs, what's going on? This guy may or may not be coming on the show here soon. Just throwing that out there. You have to understand your buying power and balance that with consistent freight in lanes where the capacity you can cover. Amen. Kevin, we might have something to talk about here in the next couple of days, man. Maybe I'll be in touch. Hint, hint. Renee Johnson has a comment out here. Okay, this may be crazy, but what about offering this to local people to deliver the freight? Like how Amazon? Yeah, Renee, I mean, in a sense that could be good, but you have to ensure that your customer's okay with you doing that. Like, you can't just like do it to where it's the most beneficial financially for you. Like, we can't take it and cross dock it unknowing to a shipper. And again, like that just Renee, I would highly advise against doing that, because, going out there and every time you cross dock a pallet, it increases the probability of it getting damaged. And then that just leads to an insurance claim. So for me, I wouldn't do that at all. And then again, that's only really going to work for like parcel stuff, because I've never seen an Amazon driver unload a pallet, you know, out of the back of their truck. Again, if I'm wrong, but again, like look into Sprinter vans for that, Renee. If you're talking about that for a local run like that, look outside of the traditional LTL market and find Sprinter vans. Sprinter vans are cost effective that are out there as well. They can fit. Most of them, in my experience, had a standard size pallet is what they could fit into there and do that. So I would just look into that. Again, it is like, but Renee, you bring up a great point. It's finding alternative methods right now. Because again, just because something worked out in the past doesn't mean it's going to continue to work out. Like that's our job. And yeah, here's a great point. Don't tell him you saw him on my show and DM him because he's going to yell at me. Never hide what the routing will be. Some items will move a specific way because they cannot be cross-docked. That is very true. Again, you guys, fucking insurance sucks. All right. Like I don't want to deal with that. I've dealt with enough claims and damage stuff in my career. It's just not fun. All right. On to the second article here from Transport Topics. Truck tonnage rises 3.8% in March. That it rose, so that's a good. And this is year over year. So from 2021 to 2022, March truckload tonnage rose 3.8%, which, you know, collectively across the industry, that's pretty decent size increase. And it also posted a first quarter gain over the same period. And that data came from the ATA, the American Trucking Association. The ATA higher truck tonnage index for March reached 118.8 compared to 106.8 in March of 2021 year to date. Tonnage is up 2.6% compared to Q1 in 2021. So again, like that doesn't say that there's a, you know, like a lot of shit can happen. All right. Like I'm not going to sit up here and try and say that situations aren't going to arise over this year because the freight market is unpredictable at best. So again, you got to take this stuff with a grain of salt and control what we can control. All right. That's your big focus, is controlling what you can control. Let's see, on a month-to-month basis, the index was 2.4% higher than the record 116.1 recorded in February of this year. So again, truckload has been increasing tonnage month over month, at least between February and March. Let's see. ATA chief economist. I just want to talk to a chief economist. I think that'd be like, it sounds cool. I'm just a dude who talks shit into a mic at the end of the day. Noted that the March result had marked the 7th straight month for annual gains, and it was the largest across any stretch. It's important to note that the ATA's for-hire tonnage data is dominated by contract freight. All right, so again, contract freight growth, very different from spot market. With minimal amounts of spot market loads is what Costello said. And clearly contractor freight was solid in March, witnessing the largest sequential gain since May of 2020. March was also the 8th straight month-to-month improvement with a total increase of 7.4% over that period. Costello said tonnage could have been higher last month and there could have been more, had there been more drivers available to haul freight. All right. During the first quarter, the index rose 2.4% from Q1 in 2021. While there might be some recent softness in the spot market, for higher contracted freight tonnage remains solid and is only limited by a lack of capacity, both drivers and equipment at contract fleets. Again, the ATA is saying that there is 80,000 new drivers to keep up with the pace of capacity needs. I just don't see my stance is there's not a driver shortage. All right. Do we need to do a better job on marketing to the next generation of drivers? Yes. We have to fill more seats. We have to get people excited about driving in this industry because the average age is the one that concerns me the most. The average age of the CDL holder, I think, is like 49. Again, don't quote me on that. I don't have that right in front of me. If somebody has it and could drop it in the comments, that'd be greatly appreciated. But the average age of driver is increasing. And the new entrants into the industry are not increasing. So we need to look at that. And to me, that's marketing. How the hell do we market to the next generation of driver? Again, I am fucking sold that we have to be all over social media with this stuff. All right. Those potential drivers are going to be on social media right now. I mean, how many of us are on TikTok and fucking Instagram every single day? I follow almost every trucking company that has an Instagram profile in this industry. I don't see a lot of push for drivers that are out there right now. Again, we got to think differently here. It's not the same. That same caliber of people that were like my old man when he started driving back in fucking 1976, it's not the same anymore. Marketing to them, I mean, shit, even marketing to me, I'm 36 years old. Where am I at? I'm on social media. If you think I'm on social media and I'm 36, where do you think the fucking 25-year-olds are? 22-year-olds are? We got to think outside the box as an industry here because this is an industry issue. This is not going to go away. All right. We need to collectively put our best foot forward here to get people attracted into this industry. And every industry has issues. Every industry has some stuff that we can all work on, but collectively, what can we do more? All right. Again, if we want change, we need to be the change. And it's plain and simple on that. So again, that article came from Transport Topics, ttnews.com. Title of that article is Truck Tonnage Rises 3.8% in March. Trying to cite my sources, you guys, because my high school English teacher would wear me out if I did not. Nick Rumer, what's up? Brother from across the pond. Third and final article comes from FreightWaves. Title of this article is Truckload Carrier Martin out of Wisconsin. Shout out Wisconsin. That's the only reason I pulled this one up, because they're headquartered in Wisconsin. I actually briefly worked from them when I was trying to figure out my life in my early 20s. Martin's a great company overall. They were very supportive of me working there, even for just a brief amount of time. But yeah, Truckload Carrier Martin racks up records in strong Q1. Operating ratios for full company truckload segments both higher compared to 2021. Labor costs up significantly. Yeah, I got to give Wisconsin a shout out, because, like, let's be real, Wisconsin's phenomenal. I'm from there originally, if anybody couldn't tell. I tried my best to hide my accent and have it be don't you know coming through. Renee Johnson, if I had the capital, I would open a freight company called Freight. I had and hire a few, drive and offer paid CDL training, and paid for it. I'd be making a local college and high school. Yeah, again, Dave Dean is he's a high school teacher out in Patterson, California. He's got a great one for the next generation of trucking. Reach out to, again, follow that organization. Ticket for me, we on iFunny. I don't know what that means, but all right. All right, back to the article here. Martin Transport had a record-breaking first quarter. Operating revenue was at a record $287.3 million. Love it. Records are up 28.8% from Q1 in 2021, but it was boosted significantly by fuel surcharge revenue, what came in at $42 million. That was up almost $20 million from a year prior. In Q1 of 2021, they were at $24.9 million. So what does that say? To me, that says that Martin has their stuff structured properly, because, again, not every customer offers a fuel surcharge as a thing, but those are pass-through expenses that are out there, So again, the larger the shipper, they're going to have fuel surcharges broken out on there. So again, that's a pass-through of it. So you have your line haul freight, which you're bidding out on RFPs. And shout out to my friends over at Emerge. If you're going through an RFP process and it's not digital right now, you should probably put them in touch with Emerge, because they are legitimately changing that part of the industry out there with the digital RFP process. But anyways, again, trucking companies alike out there, talk to your shipping partners about that. You might have been quoting all in all this time, and then they might be breaking it apart on a fuel surcharge basis that's out there on the back end. Again, that's probably not happening, because that would add an extra step, but you just never know. Talk to your shipping partners about a fuel surcharge if they don't have one, because, again, like, that's a pass through that should be done. And that's what it shows to me on what Martin's heavy on is their contracted line haul and their fuel surcharge. That's where they got their additional money from. Because, again, like, what was crazy, later on in this article, they were talking about, I'm going to skip ahead. I think it was like $5,000 a week per truck of what they were spending on fuel. Could you imagine that? Martin's got a couple thousand trucks too. Like $5,000 just on one truck is what their average was at. Let me see here. Yeah, net of fuel per tractor per week, truckload segment was at $5,000, just under $5,000, which was almost $1,000 increase from last year. So think about that. Obviously fuel prices are extremely high right now. So again, we got to look at that on how we're pricing stuff out. Doing that line haul plus fuel is key if you have shippers out there that do that. And if they don't, talk to them about it. Again, if there's a way to make it more cost effective overall, it's one of those things that, again, look at it and see what you can bring out it, and then again, their operating ratio improved to 87.5% from 89.2% in Q1 of 21. Again, that included the impact on the fuel surcharge that's out there. And then operating revenue as a whole was at a record, coming in at 287.2. Operating income was at 35.9 million. So again, like, people are fucking killing it right now. For the most part, a lot of these guys, not everybody. I know that this one is geared towards small carriers and small brokerages and stuff alike. But again, it's like, how can you take this information and apply it to your day to day? Again, it's like we need to be looking at things differently. We truly do. And again, it shows like, because success leaves clues, you guys. Like, I guess that's the biggest thing is like what they're doing at scale is what you can apply in your business today. So again, like that's the beauty of publicly traded companies is all of their shit is laid out there. Like in this article, they literally have the balance sheet from Q1 of 22 and Q1 of 21, and it breaks down out there everything: their average tractors, their average miles per trip, everything else. So again, look into that stuff and see how can you apply some of this knowledge. There is a bunch of free stuff out there for us to utilize and study this data, because that's what's going to help us increase our operating profits on the smaller scale. You know, you look at it, there's no difference between how they're running their, you know, like obviously there are differences between like fuel purchasing power and all of that other stuff out there. But again, like the basis of their business is literally broke down on a per truck basis on this thing. So check that out and see. So yeah, again, I think like, you know, here's the gift and the curse of this. So again, before you know, we just got a couple minutes left here. I'll wrap up with that. That article was on freightwaves.com. It's truckload carrier Martin Trex racks up records in strong Q1. So again, study this data. How can you learn from it? How can you improve off of it? There's a ton of valuable shit that's out there and it's all free. Like literally all of that information is free. So you can take that and apply it. I think of it. I think of it like this though. And fortunately, I never had to have this conversation in my career. When your company is, this is the curse of publicly traded companies, especially now with the current market being what it is when your company's boasting massive profits and say you've had a hard stretch at a customer about pricing and everything else. They're like, oh, you're fucking printing money right now. You shouldn't have any problems with anything. That's always a challenging one. So if you're a sales rep out there, you might want to get ahead of some of these things and see like, how do you work through it best to make it mutually beneficial? It's never easy when it's out there, but again, like that's the gift and the curse of working for a publicly traded company where everything's so public like that, all that information. I could only imagine, especially, you know, because again, like I've been there, like I've had shitty stretches with shippers before. I've fucked up. I've made plenty of mistakes out there. And those are never fun conversations. And then, you know, like, so if you're in that position right now, and then you're working for a large company who just had a record Q1 and your customers not happy with you, might be one of those times to jump on a plane, especially because that mask mandate's gone. Jump on a plane and go sit face to face and take your beating in person and come to an agreement there. Because again, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in this industry right now. But again, we got to develop that consistency that we're looking for. We have to develop and create a way through this, because like this stuff is never going to change. This stuff is always going to be part of the industry. Prices are going to rise, prices are going to fall. Spot market, you know, again, like last year when spot market was high, contracted rates were low. So of course, tender rejections are going to be through the fucking roof because you can make more money on the open market. That's the beauty of the free market. But again, we got to control what we can control here. As a broker, we can't control fuel prices. As a small trucking company, as a small trucking company alike, if you're paying an all-in rate right now or getting paid an all-in rate from brokers or your shippers direct alike, talk to them about a fuel surcharge. See if there's a way that you can structure this. I mean, the national average of diesel is fucking astronomical $5.10 a gallon, but you can find that information out, you guys, on EIA.gov, and it's the national. Here, let me see here. I'm going to pull this up for you. National diesel fuel. Yeah, EIA.gov. All right. If you type in Google national diesel fuel surcharge, the very first response on Google is EIA.gov. Click on that. It's going to show you what diesel prices are for the national average and talk to them about that. See if there's a way that you can do it. Again, like we got to find a way to work through this with fuel prices being what they are. Again, that might be a thing, but you've never asked. I mean, it's amazing what just the power of asking is. Again, we don't know everything. And that's just the way it is. So That's it for today, guys. Shit, that 30 minutes flew by. I appreciate everybody in the comments out there. Luis, Renee, Vitali, Nicholas Basiloni. What's up, brother? Haven't seen you in a while. Nick Rumer, Kevin Coombs, Benjamin Adams, Kyle Ingram, Millie, Dave Abels, Tyrone Short, Sheree, Mark Grove, Stephen Peterson. All you guys, thank you guys all so much for jumping on here today. I appreciate you guys all so much. Mark, what's up? I'm going to be in contact with you here a little bit later. Thank you guys all. Have a great rest of your day. We're going to be actually early tomorrow. I had a preset engagement at this time that I had booked out a month ago. So I'm going to be early tomorrow. I'm going to be at 9 o'clock Central Time tomorrow morning. All right, 9 to 9:30. We're going to rock it out. Again, I had a preset engagement that I can't change as a business owner. I don't believe in changing my schedule around. I'll make the change. So 7 o'clock Pacific, 9 a.m. Central tomorrow, but we'll be back to our regular scheduled time on Friday, which is 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central. I appreciate you guys all. Jeremy Reed, what's up? I appreciate the support. I got to bounce, you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Freight Coach Morning Show. We're out.